Thought I'd do a short video. I've arrived early for a meeting about Shopify, which is kind of my life the last 2 weeks. Projects seem to come in a rush, and I've had a rush of what I'll call website metamorphosis, transformation from existing websites into the Shopify technology. Different sites, right? WordPress site moving into Shopify, Magento site moving into Shopify. Doesn't really matter what website you have, they're all built on database technology nowadays, so they should migrate. Trouble is, when you get involved in these kind of projects, is you don't actually know how hard it's going to be until you begin, because you don't know how the existing website was built. And it's my favorite kind of job, A, because I love Shopify. And I say when I pitch to people about Shopify projects, it's the most fun software to use if you're into e-commerce. Right? If you're doing brochure sites, I like WordPress. But if you're doing e-commerce, selling products and services online, then I always send people to Shopify because it's so much fun to use. It's not as much fun as going out or going to the park probably, or whatever it is you do. But from a technology perspective, so user-friendly. You can set up campaigns at in seconds. And I always use the example of one of my customers who's in his 70s, who had a Zencart site for a long time and really didn't have control of it, had to rely on people like me, his web developers, and pay them each time. Never felt confident to use it. He sets up his own campaigns, sets up his own discounts, all using Shopify. Easy. Nothing as simple to take control of your business. And that's important, isn't it? If I don't take control of my website and I don't do promotions and campaigns, then I don't make as much money or as business as I could do. If I have to rely on people like web designers, and I'm one of those, so I'll put my hand up to that. There's always a delay. They have multiple clients. You should be able to make a change like that, right? I'm going to do a promotion discount today. It's online. I'm making money. So people want Shopify when you explain it to them and demo it and show it to them, which is very simple to do. And I'm happy to do that for anyone who's interested. Just ping me an email, right? And so when I say you don't actually know the nightmare or problem that's coming up until you get involved, is because you don't know how the original web developers set the site up. You unpick that. You unpick their build. And so some people use different categories, tags, different sized images. Oh, that is a pain. When you run into a website who doesn't understand the concept of compression and the importance of not duplicating images when you upload them automatically for different sizes, which WordPress does. If you upload a big image to WordPress, it will duplicate lots of different sizes, which all take up memory for different platforms and so on. Wow. The project I'm on right now had 29,700 images, 3 gigabytes of site. That causes me problems that I don't know until I start building it, because I'm trying to pull out this information, work out which images are correct and so on. So you always run into what I'll call unforeseen barriers, and my job is to overcome those, isn't it? Which takes a bit of time, depending on what the barrier is. But I love it for that very reason. It's quite difficult to actually go through the process, I suppose, and keep track of what is going to work and what isn't going to work. And also it's different every time. And you're kind of doing a detective story, I guess. You're working out your problems as you go and overcoming them. And at the end of it, your WooCommerce site or your Magento site, which is quite unwieldy really, anyone who's used either of those pieces of software, well, it's not really intuitive, not really, it's developer software. You've metamorphosized into this Shopify awesome site that you have complete control of and can enjoy doing your online business with. Okay, so that's what I've been doing lately. I've had a run of projects which are all about Shopify, and why I win those contracts is I am paranoid when it comes to digital marketing, I think. And I know how to build a Shopify website, but what they're really concerned with is when you have an existing website, doing a Shopify build is brilliantly easy. Anybody could do that, really, right? But to bring something across that already has income, so it's a website that already has traffic and Google ranking and setups on directories and so on, and their URL structures, right? Different web addresses for different pages. To bring across a site that exists that has a revenue stream is a risk. To change your website is the biggest risk you're going to do in digital business, because it changes all the code. That means whatever Google thought your ranking was before can fall off the cliff. It could come back re-index your site and go, well, hang on a minute, all that SEO power or strength that we had before has vanished. You've got this beautiful new site. It wouldn't think that. It's a calculator. It's a computer, not a person. But you might have this beautiful new site, but you may have just binned all your ranking. I've seen that happen. People who go and use web developers who have no comprehension of how search engines work, or the implications of digital marketing for that matter, in terms of URL structure. And so when I go and see people, I kind of use what I'll call a negative sell, really. I go straight off, opening gambit. Opening gambit is, this is the riskiest thing you're ever going to do in your business online, to change your website. And this is why. And then I explain exactly what I just mentioned, that their Google ranking is now at risk unless they do it properly. Unless they do redirections on URLs, web addresses on the pages, unless they retain their SEO setup. You know, if you ever put a title, a tag or a meta description in, you know, you have to repeat those to start with. We don't want to start anew. Google does not like new. Google likes, what's the word? Stable, consistent, doesn't like rapid change. And so when you put a new site up and dump the old one, and I've seen this happen, you literally could lose all your traffic overnight. I've seen that happen. I've seen a business go under because they used a web developer who did not take into account search engine optimization. And you should. So the first thing I do is I go and meet them. I say, this is the riskiest thing you're ever going to do. You sure you want to do it? And you can only be sure by checking the data. We go and look at your Google Analytics. We look at your keywords. We look at where your traffic conversions come from, where your business comes from. That is people who came to your site, your old site, and bought things. We look at what keywords, which you can do with software and tracking software I have, what keywords generated the money, not the vanity. I don't care about the people who came who didn't buy anything. I care about the people who came who gave me income, who generated my profits. And we look at that, we look at the keyword list. And if you have a business built on brand name, if it's your own organization and 3/4 of the traffic comes from people who've already heard of you, that's like older companies, I guess, we'll call that a low to medium risk migration, metamorphosis. But if you have keywords which are generic, are product keywords, things like, I don't know, car seat covers, I don't know where that came from, but car seat covers, that matters, because if I lose those words because I become less competitive than a competitor, I threw my money away, literally threw my money away, and I cannot get it back. Once Google comes and indexes your site and decides that you're a new site and you don't have those keywords anymore, it's not a simple case of reverting back. You can't just put back up what you had and hope it works, because it won't. Google is an evolving beast. And so the move to Shopify outweighs some of that, because any risk I have of ranking fall, which shouldn't happen if done properly, is counterbalanced or outweighed by being able to actually do promotions yourself in a timely manner, and by having a better presentation of sales content. So in the worst case scenario, I lose my ranking a little, right? But because my site's so much better at persuading people to buy my products, the revenue counterbalances any income loss from traffic, right? So you've got that. So you weigh that up and say, this is where you stand in terms of how much more business we think you'll get from better usability, better presentation, control of your campaigns, complete control that you have, and timeliness, against potential risk of ranking. And that dictates how complicated my job is going to be. Because if you have a website, an existing website that's reliant on Google ranking on generic product terms, I have to go to the detail, the nth degree, on making sure that all your code that you already had in terms of SEO strength comes across to Shopify. That's hard to do, because Shopify is a different piece of software, so it uses a different code system. And so you can never do it 100%, but you can take steps to ensure that the bulk of that code, if I looked at the page before and the page that's new, code-wise, not content-wise, there's enough in the new page that makes it robust and similar to the setup of the old page. That's why I get those jobs. Not because I'm a great web developer, although I like to think I know how to build a website, built hundreds. Not because I know how to do Shopify, which I do. Right? It's because they are afraid, rightly, of when I move, will I lose my business ranking? Will I lose my income? Will I lose my revenue stream? And I think they feel faith in me because I go in as scared as they are. And I start from the position of, we should be afraid of losing things. And we will take a project-specific process to ensure we don't. And that's ready for my next meeting. I've got to go in. I thought I'll just do a quick piece about Shopify migration, metamorphosis from what I'll call less fun, static type, really, website technology, if you're an e-commerce customer, into the fabulous software, which is Shopify. And that's my video for today. Off to my meeting.